So, this is In the Cemetery Where Al Jolson is Buried by Amy Hempel. Tell me things I won't mind forgetting, she said. Make it useless stuff, or skip it. I began. I told her insects fly through the rain, missing every drop, never getting wet. I told her no one in America owned a tape recorder before Bing Crosby did. I told her the shape of the moon is like a banana. You see it looking full, you're seeing it end on. The camera made me self-conscious and I stopped. It was trained on us from a ceiling mount. The kind of camera banks use to photograph robbers. It played us the nurses down the hall in intensive care. Go on, girl, she said. You get used to it. I had my audience. I went on. Did you know that Tammy Wynette had changed her tune? Really? That now she sings Stand By Your Friends? That Paul Anka did it too, I said. You're having our baby? That he got sick of all that feminist bitching. What else, she said. Have you got something else? Oh yes. For her, I would always have something else. Did you know that when they taught the first chimp to talk, it lied? That when they asked her who did it on the desk, she signed the name of the janitor? And that when they pressed her, she said that she was sorry. It was really the project director. But she was a mother, so I guess she had her reasons. Oh, that's good, she said. A parable. There's more about the chimp, I said, but it'll break your heart. No thanks, she says, and scratches at her mask. We look like good guy outlaws. Good or bad, I'm not used to the mask yet. I keep touching the warm spot where my breath, thank God, comes out. She's used to hers. She only ties the strings on top. The other one's a pro by now. She lets hang loose. We call this place the Marcus Welby Hospital. It's the white one with the palm trees under the opening credits of all those shows. A Hollywood hospital, though in fact it is several miles west. Off camera, there's a beach across the street. She introduces me to a nurse as the best friend. The impersonal article is more intimate. It tells me that they are intimate, the nurse and my friend. I was telling her, we used to drink Canada Dry ginger ale and pretend we were in Canada. That's how dumb we were, I say. You could be sisters, the nurse says. So how come, I'll bet they're wondering, it took me so long to get to such a glamorous place? What do they ask? They do not ask. 2 months, and how long is the drive? The best way I can explain it is this. I have a friend who worked one summer in a mortuary. He used to tell me stories. The one that really got to me is not the grisliest, but it's the one that did. A man wrecked his car going on 101 going south. He did not lose consciousness, but his arms were taken down to the wet bone, and when he looked at it, it scared him to death. I mean, he died. So I hadn't dared to look any closer, but now I'm doing it, and hoping that I'll live through it. She shakes out a summer weight blanket, showing a leg you did not want to see. Except for that, you look at her and understand the law that requires 2 people to be with the body at all times. I thought of something, she says. Thought of it last night. I think there's a real and present need here, you know? She says. Like, for someone to do it for you when you can't do it. You call them up whenever you want, like when push comes to shove. She grabs the bedside phone, and loops the cord around her neck. Hey, she says. The end of the line. She keeps on, giddy with something, but I don't know with what. I can't remember, she says. What does the Kubler-Ross say comes after denial? It seems to me anger must be next, then bargaining, depression, and so on and so forth. But I keep my guesses to myself. The only thing is, she says, where's resurrection? God knows, I want to do it by the book. But she left out resurrection. She laughs, and I cling to the sound the way someone dangling above a ravine holds fast to the thrown rope. Tell me, she says, about that chimp with the talking hands. What do they do when the thing ends and the chimp says, I don't want to go back to the zoo? When I don't say anything, she says, okay, then tell me another animal story. I like animal stories, but not a sick one. I don't want to know about all these seeing eye dogs going blind. No, I would not tell her a sick one. How about the hearing ear dogs? I say. They're not going deaf, but they are getting very judgmental. For instance, there's this golden retriever in New Jersey. He wakes up the deaf mother and drags her into the daughter's room because The kid has got a flashlight and is reading under the covers. "Oh, you're killing me," she says. "Yes, you're definitely killing me." They say the smart dog obeys, but the smarter dog knows when to disobey. "Yes," she says. The smarter anything knows when to disobey. Now, for example. She's flirting with the good doctor who has just appeared. Unlike the bad doctor who checks the IV drip before saying good morning, the good doctor says things like, "God didn't give epileptics a fair shake." The good doctor awards himself points for the cripples he could have hit in the parking lot. Because the good doctor is a little in love with her, he says maybe a year. He pulls a chair up to her bed and suggests I might like to spend an hour on the beach. "Bring me something back," she says. "Anything from the beach or the gift shop. Case is no object." He draws the curtain around her bed. "Wait," she cries, looking at her. "Anything," she says, "except the magazine subscription." The doctor turns away. I watch her mouth laugh. It seems dangerous, often is not. Black snakes, for example, or clear air turbulence. While things that just lie there, like this beach, are loaded with jeopardy. A yellow dust rising from the ground, the heat that ripens melons overnight. This is earthquake weather. You can sit here braiding the fringe on your towel, and the sand will all of a sudden suck down like an hourglass. The air roars. In the cheap apartments on shore, bathtubs fill themselves and gardens roll up and over like green waves. If nothing happens, the dust will drift and the heat deepen till fear turns to desire. Nerves like that are only bought off by catastrophe. "Never happens when you're thinking about it," she once observed. "Earthquake, earthquake, earthquake," she said. "Earthquake, earthquake, earthquake," I said. Like the aviophobe who keeps the plane aloft with prayer, we kept it up until an aftershock cracked the ceiling. That was after the big one in '72. We were in college. Our dormitory was 5 miles away from the epicenter. When the ride was over and my jabbering pulse began to slow, she served 5 parts champagne to 1 part orange juice, and joked about living in Ocean View, Kansas. I have to drive her to Hawaii on the New World psychics predicted would surface the next time, or the next. I cannot say that now. Next. Who's next, she could ask. Was I the only one who noticed that the experts had stopped saying if and now spoke of when? Of course not. The fearful ran to the thousands. We watched the traffic of Japanese beetles for deviation. Deviation might mean more natural violence. I wanted her to be afraid with me, but she said, "I don't know. I'm just not." She was afraid of nothing, not even flying. I had this dream before a flight where we buckle in and the plane moves down the runway, takes off at 35 miles an hour, and then we're airborne, skimming the treetops. Still, we arrive in New York on time. It is so pleasant. One night, I flew to Moscow this way. She flew with me once. The time she flew with me, she ate macadamia nuts while the wings bounced. She knows the wingtips can bend 30 feet up and down without coming off. She believes it. She trusts the laws of aerodynamics. My mind stampedes. I can almost accept that a battleship floats when everybody knows steel sinks. I see fear in her now, and I'm not going to try to talk her out of it. She's right to be afraid. After a quake, the 6 o'clock news airs a film clip of first graders yelling at the broken playground per their teacher's instructions. "Bad Earth," they shout, because anger is stronger than fear. But the beach is standing still today. Everyone on it is tranquilized, numb, or asleep. Teenage girls rub coconut oil on each other's hard-to-reach places. They smell like macaroons. They pry open compacts like clamshells. Mirrors catch the sun and throw a spray of white rays across the glazed shoulders. The girls arrange their wet hair with silk flowers the way they learned in 17. They pose. A formation of lowriders pulls over to watch with a 6-pack. They get vocal when the girls check their tan lines. When the beer is gone, so are they, flexing their cars on up the boulevard. Above this aggressive health are the twin wrought iron terraces, painted flamingo pink, of the Palm Royale. Someone dies there every time the sheets are changed. There's an ambulance in the driveway, so the remaining residents lie in the balconies, rocking and not talking, one not. The ocean they stare at is dangerous, not just the undertow. You could almost see the slapping tails of sand sharks keeping cruising bodies alive. If she looked, she could see this, some of it, from her window. She would be the first to say how little it takes to make a thing all wrong. Give me a second. There was a second bed in the room when I got back to it, and 2 beats. I didn't get it. Then it hit me like an open coffin. She wants every minute, I thought. She wants my life. You miss Gussie, she said. Gussie is her parents' 300-pound narcoleptic maid. Her attacks often come at the ironing board. The pillows in that family are all bordered with a scorch. It's a hard trip for her, I said. How is she? Well, she didn't fall asleep, if that's what you mean. Gussie's great. You know what she said? She said, darling, stop this worryation. Just keep praying, down on your knees. Me, who can't even get out of bed. She shrugged. What am I missing? It's earthquake weather, I told her. The best thing to do about earthquakes, she said, is to not live in California. That's useful, I said. You sound like Reverend Ike. The best thing to do for the poor is to not be one of them. We're crazy about Reverend Ike. I noticed her face was bloated. You know, she said, I feel like hell. I'm about to stop having fun. The ancients have a saying, I said. There are times when the wolves are silent. There are times when the moon howls. What's that? Navajo? Palm Royal Lobby graffiti. I bought a paper there. I'll read you something. Even though I care about nothing? I turned the page with the trivia column. I said, did you know the more shrimp flamingos birds eat, the pinker their feathers get? I said, did you know that Eskimos need refrigerators? Do you know why Eskimos need refrigerators? Did you know that Eskimos need refrigerators because how else would they keep their food from freezing? I turned to page 3, to a UPI filler deadlined Mexico City. I read her man robs bank with chicken. About a man who bought a barbecued chicken at a stand down the block from a bank. Passing the bank, he got the idea. He walked in and approached the teller. He pointed the brown paper bag at her, and she handed over the day's receipts. It was the smell of barbecue sauce that eventually led to his capture. The story had made her hungry, she said, so I took the elevator down 6 floors to the cafeteria and brought back all the ice cream she wanted. We lay side by side, adjustable beds cranked up for optimal TV viewing, littering the sheets with good humor wrappers, picking toasted almonds out of the gauze. We were Lucy and Ethel, Mary and Rhonda in extremis. The blinds were closed to keep light off the screen. We watched a movie starring men we used to think we wanted to sleep with. Hers was a tough cop-out to stop mine, vicious rapist who went after cocktail waitresses. This is a good movie, she said, when snipers felled them both. I missed her already. The Filipino nurse tiptoed in and gave her the injection. The nurse removed the pile of popsicle sticks from the nightstand, enough to splint a small animal. The injection made us both sleepy. We slept. I dreamed she was a decorator, come to furnish my house. She worked in secret, singing to herself. When she finished, she guided me proudly to the door. How do you like it? She asked, easing me inside. Every beam and sill and shelf and knob was draped in gay bunting, with streamers of pastel crepe looped around bright mirrors. I have to go home, I said when she woke up. She thought I meant home to her house in the canyon, and I had to say no. Home, home. I twisted my hands in the time-honored fashion of people in pain. I was supposed to offer something, the best friend. I couldn't even offer to come back. I felt weak and small and failed. Also exhilarated. I had a convertible in the parking lot. Once out of that room, I would drive it too fast down the coast highway through the crab-smelling air, stop in Malibu for sangria. The music in the place would be sexy and loud. They'd serve papaya and shrimp and watermelon ice. After dinner, I would shimmer with lust, buzzer with heat, life, and stay up all night. Without a word, she yanked off her mask and threw it on the floor. She kicked at the blankets and moved to the door. She must have hated having to pause for breath and balance before slamming out of isolation, out of the second room, the one where you scrub and tie the white masks. Voice shouted her name in alarm, and people ran down the corridor. The good doctor was paged over the intercom. I opened the door, and the nurse at the station stared hard. as if this flight had been my idea. "Where is she?" I asked. They nodded to the supply closet. I looked in. 2 nurses were kneeling beside her on the floor, talking to her in low voices. One held a mask over her nose and mouth, the other rubbed her back in slow circles. The nurses glanced up to see if I was a doctor, and when I wasn't, they went back to what they were doing. There, honey," they cooed. On the morning she was moved to the cemetery, the one where Al Jolson is buried, I enrolled in a fear of flying class. "What is your worst fear?" the instructor asked, and I answered, "That I'll finish this course and still be afraid. I sleep with a glass of water on the nightstand so I can see by its level if the coastal earth is trembling or if the shaking is still me." What do I remember? I remember only the useless things I hear. That Bob Dylan's mother invented whiteout, that 23 people must be in a room before there's a 50-50 chance 2 will have the same birthday. Who cares whether or not it's true? In my head, there are bath towels swaddling this stuff. Nothing else seeps through. I review those things that we'll figure out in the retelling. A kiss through surgical gauze, the pale hand correcting the position of the wig. I noted these gestures as they happened, not in any retrospect. Though I don't know why looking back should show us more than looking at. It is just possible. I'll say I stayed the night. And who is there that can say that I didn't? I think of the chimp, the one with the talking hands. In the course of the experiment, that chimp had a baby. Imagine how her trainers must have thrilled when the mother, without prompting, began to sing to her newborn. Signed to her newborn. "Baby, drink milk. Baby, play ball." And when the baby died, the mother stood over the body, her wrinkled hands moving with animal grace, forming again and again the words, "Baby, come hug. Baby, come hug." Fluent now in the language of grief. For Jessica Wolfson. So yeah, that story is... I read this during English Lit one year. This story is rough. Because it is just... Like, how do you accept that kind of thing, right? Like, your friend's dying. You don't, neither of you have accepted it either, clearly. Because she's wanting to fill her brain with useless things. And she's trying to avoid every conversation of anything related to life. It's a pretty common one, apparently. It's rough. It's really rough. But it's really good. Like, it's just one of those stories that's like, fuck, damn. Like, everything from the allegory of the chimp to just the actual interactions between the 2 characters to even the wording. Like, there's things in here like her talking about, why would you read that to me? Who cares about nothing, Or it hits me like an open coffin. She wants my life, Like, so many. I was gonna come in with a smart ass joke talking about the line from 10 Things I Hate About You, but as soon as I heard the somber tone, I wasn't sure how to say hello. All good. Understandable, really. You start hearing what what they're actually saying in the story, and you're like, oh god, maybe this isn't the time. But yeah, no, this is, it's a fantastic short story. If very just, man, rough. I personally like it a lot. I'm trying to remember more of the short stories I read during English Lit, because, you just find a lot of short stories there for obvious reasons. But yeah.